Curb Your Enthusiasm has some pretty provocative storylines. All right, give it up for Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Well, I'm going to tell you, before you even go into the question, I'm going to tell you right now, for the first time ever, we're going to do a new season. Larry's decided to do a new season, very exciting. And we're going to shoot half the episodes here in New York.
Wow.
Which should be fun.
All right. Oh, that's awesome.
So we'll be here all summer.
Woo! All right, well.
Come harass us, please.
Okay, Curb Your Enthusiasm has some pretty provocative storylines. I understand most of the scenes are ad-libbed on an outline. Can you describe how that works when filming?
Well, the Curb is written really very much like Seinfeld, only without the dialogue. We basically break down these scenes. We try to create scenes that have beginning, middles, and ends, that are funny conceptually, and occasionally when a line must be said, and there's children here, and I won't, like Beloved, I don't know if you ever saw that one. But, you know, there's some things that we put in the outline because those things have to specifically be said, but we then audition and hire great improv actors who are then given just those elements and not told anything else, and then we allow them to sort of, what would really happen? What would you really say if you read that obituary? You know, what would happen? And that's how those scenes develop, and over the course of many takes, we begin to sort of hone and refine the direction of and the structure of the scene until we have a scene. And usually Curb's first cuts, which are fantastic, are usually about an hour long, and we have to cut half the show out. So I've tried to get Larry to put out the 1-hour episodes also, which are really kind of amazing. And a lot of stuff gets lost because the improv is just so great that in the end, when we cut the show together, it's like an hour long, which we can't use half the stuff.
Yeah. Okay, can you tell us about any episodes you directed that were too provocative for HBO to produce?
No.
No? Okay, next question.
But I did write a Seinfeld where Elaine bought a gun, and NBC wouldn't allow us to we cast it, we built the sets and everything, and NBC pulled the plug on it. So that did happen.
Oh, they did?
I also wrote another episode that was pulled also. I wrote an episode about George makes a comment about an African-American friend ordering a salad. Like he's never seen him order a salad before, and the guy takes it badly, and they get into kind of an argument about it, and he accuses him of being a racist. And that was another one that NBC kind of killed. Did
you have a lot of problems with NBC's, what do they call it, standards and practices, the censors?
Well, amazingly enough, I mean, Larry David, I can't say enough about him. He's a genius, and I've had the good fortune of collaborating with a number of geniuses, and he's one of them. And to give you an example of the standards and practices kind of issues, we did this famous episode called The Contest, which was about masturbation. But we never say the word. I just said the word here, but we never say the word in the show. And ironically, here's a show about a masturbation contest, and forgive me if I'm offending anybody, but we didn't have one note from the network on that show because he was so skilled and so deft in writing it and using those metaphors, the master of your domain and all those kind of things, that as angry as the censors were, they couldn't do anything about it.
Interesting. What is your favorite or wackiest episode of either Seinfeld or Curb?
Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, shit. I love The Contest, and the show I love that season. That's the season that the only season we won the Emmy for Best Show. I think it was 1993, and all the shows connected that year. There was the Contest, the Outing, the Bubble Boy, the Cheever Letters. There was they were all connected. You know, they go up to the cabin, he gets the cigars, the cabin goes on fire, they find the Cheever Letters, you know, the fiance's father turns out to be gay, you know what I mean? So that, I recall that my favorite season. Every episode that year, we just were on a roll. We were just hot that year. And just everything was clicking, and that was a really exhilarating year. We actually won the Emmy that year. And on Curb, again, there are just, you know, dozens of episodes. I love the Survivor episode, where the Holocaust survivor and the guy from the TV show have the argument. That's one of my favorites. I love the one I did this season, the table read, with the Seinfeld reunion. That was a lot of fun to do also.
Yeah, the Seinfeld reunion was great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I really enjoyed that.
Really, really fun.
Yeah. Who came up with Serenity Now?
That was after I left.
That was who?
After I was gone, so I don't know who came up with that.
Oh, okay. All right, what was it like to work with Larry David and Richard Lewis?
A lot of Jewish neurosis in the room during those times. Yeah, what's great about Curb is like their relationship off camera. That is the relationship. They are at each other's throats all the time. Since they're 14 years old, they've been fighting like cats and dogs, and I'm often the referee in that situation, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, as a writer on a number of hit TV shows, Seinfeld, Mad About You, as examples, what led you to directing feature films from that arena? Do you see yourself now as wearing many hats, writer, director, producer, or would you prefer to focus on directing?
You know, I'm actually a believer that these labels are antiquated myself. I'm a believer, all these forms that I work in are collaborative forms. And as a director or as a producer, I don't like to put people in their categories and in their boxes. I want everyone to feel invested in the project. And so I don't care where the idea comes from, I just want the best idea. If it comes from me, great. But if it doesn't come from me, I'm fine with that as long as we get the best idea. So if you come onto my set, the AD, the gaffers, everybody, it's a very communal atmosphere. And my job is almost to be like sort of the guide, the captain of the ship, to keep the ship moving forward, you know? But I want everyone to feel like if they don't do their job, the ship is gonna go down. And so everyone has, it's just like I'm talking about with Dewey. I want everyone who works with me to feel like they're having a creative, life-changing, potentially experience. So I don't have any particular, I love directing. I probably hate writing the most because it's definitely the hardest. To sit by yourself in a room day after day can be very depressing. When you're directing, it's a very social job, and there's something a little bit easier about that experience for me, although directing is incredibly challenging. And when you do a movie like Borat, it's not traditional directing. You're having fistfights, you're being chased by police, you're having guns pointed at you, you know, and I'm really too old for that shit. So I really, you know, so it's a little different. So because is that directing in the traditional sense? No, that's not even directing in the traditional sense in some ways. So I love the idea of blurring all these lines, basically. I'm a maker of these things, and you can call me whatever you want, and the union will call me whatever you want, but in my mind, I don't really care how it gets done.
All right, speaking of Borat,